Hello, this is Worth a Minute. I'm Craig Werth. I come from a funny family, funny in a bunch of ways, but today I'll talk about our appreciation for humor. It comes from both sides of our family. On our mom's side, one of the clearest influences was my mother's father. He delivered one-liners from his Newfoundland culture. He gave us an appreciation for finding funny in the simple and the absurd. It's an acquired taste, for sure, this brand of humor, and I acquired it big time. One of Grandpa Brett's lines was, "I'm sick in bed on 2 chairs." The jokes contain a contradiction in them, a bit of self-deprecation sometimes. These jokes come from a culture filled with hard, difficult lives. Jokes can take the edge off, bring you to a moment of peace and calm, even if only for a brief spell. I'm sick in bed on 2 chairs. It's odd humor, perhaps, but I get it. Another is, he was about as useful as a sack of hammers. Another from Newfoundland is, just look at what he ain't got done now. They're jokes and word tricks, and I love them. On my father's side was our father himself. He would always bring home the joke of the day from his time at the office. Some of these were ones many wouldn't consider age-appropriate at times, but I liked the fact that he'd share some adult humor with me. I felt that he was trusting me with something. I also don't think our dad had many friends, and he didn't have many folks to share his jokes with, so he brought them home to his most appreciative audience. In addition to those found jokes, he could make up great wordplay and taught us to do the same. Puns of all sorts would fly around the house now and then. You know, I can't recall many right now, but I recall the feeling of them, the fun in sharing something funny. When you live with humor and grow up with it, it's easier to find it when you want to, when you need to. I also know from my family some of the jokes we each made at the expense of someone else. Families can be particularly good at that, at keeping a joke running for years that is a source of embarrassment or even shame for some family member. We do this with friends sometimes too. If someone complains or seems offended, we say, "Hey, I was only kidding," or "Can't you take a joke?" I have done this many times in years past, especially with those closest to me. Lately, I'm trying to be a bit more careful because I've come to understand the power of jokes and how they can be wielded as weapons at times. We may think we are only kidding, but often there's 10% or 20% or 60% of something else in there, some competitive energy or retaliatory element to our joking. I also realized that I spent much of my life making my own self-deprecating jokes, one in which I knocked myself down a few notches in front of other people. I must have thought this was evidence of some endearing humility on my part, and I know there's some self-defense at beating others to the punch. If I make fun of myself, I can preempt others from doing that to me. I'm trying not to do that as much anymore. I think it's not the gift to myself or to anyone else that I used to think it was. Perhaps I'll talk more about that one day.